Welcome students. Today I am here with the second chapter of science, class 7, which is nutrition in animals. And I hope you all have already gone through the chapter number 1, which was nutrition in plants. In that chapter you have studied about autotrophic mode of nutrition and heterotrophic mode of nutrition which occurs in plant. In autotrophic mode of nutrition, plants by the process of photosynthesis can prepare their own food. But not all the plants, only the green plants. They have chlorophyll, so with the help of chlorophyll, sunlight, carbon dioxide, water and various nutrients which are present in the soil, they utilize these nutrients to make their own food. But what about the animals and the human being? We cannot prepare our food. So we come under the category of heterotrophic mode of nutrition. And as we all know that food is very important for us. We all need food for repair, for growth and development of our body. All living organisms require food. But how do we get food from? And from where do we get this food from? We get this food from plants, directly or indirectly. As we cannot prepare our food, we are depending on green plants. Like herbivores, they are directly taking their nutrition from green plants, whereas the other animals, which are flesh-eating or meat-eating animals, they take their food from the animals, those who are eating these green plants or herbivores. So we can say that we are directly or indirectly depending for our food on the plants only. Now, what are the various components of the food which are present or in the food and which are required for our body? If you remember your previous class, there you have studied about the various components of the food, which were carbohydrate, protein, fat, vitamins and minerals. These are the 5 main basic components which are present in the food, and we all need these components in proper amount to get our nutrient requirement. But children, here the question occurs, all these components as they are present in the food material, do we utilize as it is or can we use as it is? No, we cannot utilize as it is which are present in their food in these food components. Then what happens there? How do we get all these in the utilized form? This utilized form, we get them when they are broken down from the complex form to the simplest form. So from the complex form, they are changed into the simpler substances. Like for example, carbohydrate. Carbohydrate in the form of starch, it is present in the food, and when it is broken down into the simpler substance which is glucose, our body can utilize it. In the same way, the protein and the fat also. So we can say that nutrition is taking off all these nutrients from the food material and utilizing it for our different purposes in our body, for growth, development and for the repairing of the worn out tissues, and the taking of these nutrients or changing of these nutrients from the complex form to the simpler form is known as digestion. Here is a slide which is showing you animal nutrition includes nutrients requirement, mode of intake of food and its utilization in our body. And the component of food such as carbohydrates are complex substances which cannot be utilized as such. So they need to be broken down into simpler substances. And this breaking down of complex molecules into the simpler substances, this is known as digestion. Now the question is, the mode of taking food into the body, is it same in all the organisms? No children. You must have observed house lizards, they flip their tongue to catch the insect. And in the same way, rainy season, the frogs, they flip out their tongue to catch the insects. But there are certain animals like snake and eagle or other birds also, they swallow their food. They take whole food into their mouth and they swallow it. Some insects like butterflies, some birds like hummingbirds or mosquitoes also, they suck their nutrient. They have a pipe-like or straw-like structure in their mouth with the help of which they suck their nutrients. Other animals like snails or the human being, we have teeth, and with the help of these teeth we chew our food. So we can say that different animals, they are having different kind of food and they have different mode of taking these food into their mouth. Now the very important and the main topic of this lesson is how the digestion takes place in human being. In human being, digestion takes place in a long tube-like structure. This tube-like structure extends from the mouth till the anus. This tube-like structure is known as alimentary canal. It is also known as digestive tract. It consists of various parts. The first opening, which is called as mouth, through the mouth we take food into our buccal cavity. This buccal cavity then extends into a tube-like structure which is called as food pipe or esophagus. This esophagus opens into a bag-like structure which is called as stomach. This stomach is connected with the small intestine. This part of intestine is smaller in the diameter, but it is larger in the length. It is 7.5 meter approximately long. And this small intestine is next joined with the large intestine. This large intestine has a diameter larger than the small intestine, but the length of this part is less. And this large intestine opens into the last part of this alimentary canal, which is known as anus. So the first opening is known as mouth and the last opening is known as anus. From the first opening, the food which is taken into the mouth, this process is called as ingestion, taking in of the food. And throughout this alimentary canal, the digestion process takes place and the undigested and the waste food is expelled from the last opening, which is known as anus, and the process of expelling this waste from our body is known as egestion. But only these parts are not involved in the digestion process. Apart from all these parts of the alimentary canal, some important glands are also there which play important role in digestion process. These glands are like salivary gland, which is present in our mouth, and then we have a liver and gallbladder. Liver is the largest gland of our body, and next we have a pancreas which is situated just below the stomach. These glands also play important role in digesting various components of the food molecule into the simpler substances. One by one, now we will take up all these parts and we will see how the digestion takes place in our body. Now first we will study about the mouth and the buccal cavity. Mouth is the first opening of the alimentary canal through which we take food into our body. And this process of taking food into the body is called as ingestion. As the food goes inside our mouth, here teeth are present. These teeth, they help in cutting and simple physically breaking down of the big piece of food into smaller pieces. We have 4 types of teeth in our buccal cavity. These are incisors, canines, premolar and molar. Total number of teeth present in the buccal cavity is 32. 16 in upper jaw and 16 are in lower jaw. The front 4 teeth are called as incisors. They are used for biting and cutting of the food. Next 2 are called as canines. These canines are very sharp teeth and they are well developed in carnivore animals because they help in tearing of the flesh. Next we have premolar and molars. Premolar and molars are for grinding and proper chewing of the food. Function of these teeth we can understand very easily. As we have a knife, so the incisors, just like a knife, has its helps in biting and cutting of the food piece. It acts like a incisors. And next, we can compare our canines with this fork. This fork helps in tearing of the food. If just like this, it helps in tearing of the food. And our molar and premolar. You must have seen this kind of a mortar and pestle at your home, children. In this, if we put some seeds, what it will do? It will help in just grinding and powdering these food material. So this way these types of teeth, they help in chewing and mastication of food. Children, do you remember falling of the teeth some years back? At the age between 6 to 8, few teeth they fall off and they are replaced by the teeth again, and these are known as permanent teeth. The teeth which fall off during our infancy or 6 to 8 year age, these are called as milk teeth, and they are replaced by the permanent teeth. These permanent teeth also, when we grow old or maybe due to some diseases, they fall. But there is no replacement of these teeth. Therefore, we have to take care of proper oral hygiene. Rinse your mouth properly after eating any kind of a food, especially if it is sugary, chocolate, sugar. All these things, they help in growth of the bacteria in our teeth, and it causes caries in our teeth and they become disease. So, proper hygiene should be maintained for healthy and long life of our permanent teeth. Now, the role of salivary gland which are present in our buccal cavity. These salivary glands, they secrete a liquid which is called as saliva. It helps in digestion process. Actually, children, the digestion process, it starts in buccal cavity itself. Usually we think that the digestion occurs in our stomach, but the digestion of the carbohydrate, that is the starch which is present in our food, get converted into the sugar, and this process occurs because of the enzyme which is present in our salivary gland, which is called as salivary amylase. This helps in digestion of the carbohydrate into a simple sugar. And after the salivary gland, we have one more important organ which is present in our buccal cavity, that is called as tongue. Tongue also helps in speaking and swallowing of the food. But the important function of the tongue is to get the taste of the food. And for this, we have a different taste buds present on our tongue. The tip of the tongue helps in receiving the sweet taste of the food. It is sensitive. The taste buds which are present in the front part of our tongue, they help in receiving or identifying the sweet taste. And the last, at the back of the tongue, the taste buds which are present, they are more sensitive about the bitter taste. Side-wise, the taste buds which are present in the side, they are helping in understanding or getting the taste of salt and the sour taste which is present in our food material. So the tongue also helps in swallowing of the food, in properly getting the taste of the food, and also it helps in speaking. So these are the few organs which are present in our buccal cavity, that is salivary gland, teeth and tongue. This buccal cavity next opens into the part which is called as pharynx. This swallowed food is passed into the pipe that is called as esophagus. The esophagus is a long tube-like structure. It is also known as food pipe. The food in the form of bolus, it moves down into the esophagus. This movement of the food occurs by a special mechanism that is called as peristalsis. Here, the contraction and the expansion of the food muscles of the food pipe takes place, which helps in pushing the food forward into the esophagus. Here, the important thing is that no digestion takes place in the esophagus part of our alimentary canal. this food simply passes from buccal cavity to the stomach. Now the next part, which is stomach, which is a bag-like structure, the inner lining of the stomach secretes mucus, hydrochloric acid and some digestive juices. Mucus helps in protecting the stomach from the action of the hydrochloric acid which is secreted by the stomach. And this hydrochloric acid is very useful as it helps in killing the bacteria which enter in our stomach with our food. Digestive juices also gets the acidic medium so that they can act on the food material, and here the digestion of the protein takes place. Protein get digested into the simpler substances which is known as amino acids. Now from the stomach the food is passed into the long, highly coiled structure which is approximately 7.5 meter long in our body, and this is known as small intestine. The wall of the small intestine also secretes various types of juices which help in digestion of the food components. Apart from the digestive juices from its wall, the small intestine also gets various juices secreted by the glands. These glands are liver and pancreas. Liver is a dark reddish brown colored gland and it is the largest gland of our body. It secretes juice which is known as bile juice. This bile gets collected into another gland which is known as gallbladder. Gallbladder passes this bile into the small intestine. Here we also have a one leaf-like gland just below the stomach region. This is known as, it is creamish gland which is known as pancreas. This gland secretes pancreatic juice, and this pancreatic juice and the bile juice gets collected into the small intestine. The function of the bile is for the digestion of the fat. It digests fat into the fatty acid and glycerol. The juice secreted by the pancreas, which is pancreatic juice, it also helps in digestion of the carbohydrate, fat and protein into the simpler substances. The carbohydrate which gets converted into the glucose is oxidized with the help of oxygen, or it combines with the oxygen and it forms carbon dioxide and water, and in this process energy is released. The fat and which get converted into fatty acid and glycerol, it gets stored beneath our skin as a reserve food material, and the amino acids which are formed by the digestion of the protein, and these amino acids are very helpful for the growth, development and repair of the worn out tissues. All these various components which are digested by the small intestine are absorbed by the wall of the intestine. The inner wall of the intestine has finger-like projections inside, and these finger-like projections, these are called as villi. The villi is a plural and the villus is a singular. So all these finger-like projection, they help in increasing the absorption area, because all these components which are digested now, they are absorbed by the blood, and these villi or finger-like projections are covered with fine blood capillaries. These blood capillaries absorb all these nutrients from the digested food and take all these nutrients to the various organs where they can be utilized for the formation of further complex components. So children, we are having these finger-like projections in the inner wall of the small intestine. So here the food gets properly digested and absorbed, and this absorption of the food and its utilization for formation of the various complex substances is known as assimilation. After this, the undigested or the waste food is passed into the next part of the alimentary canal, which is known as large intestine. Here in the large intestine, excess of the water and salts are reabsorbed into our body. Sometimes you may have seen that the people are suffering with the diarrhea, and we lost most of the water from our body. We have a watery stool, and this all leads to dehydration condition. Here the water is not reabsorbed by our body, and some salts are also released from the body. So this condition should be avoided, and this usually occurs because of the taking unhygienic food, or we are having some food poisoning. So these conditions, they lead to the diarrhea, and this diarrhea can be easily controlled by taking proper ORS. ORS, that is oral rehydration solution. This oral rehydration solution helps to get proper water and the salt intake in our body. The large intestine, which absorbs excess of the water and the salt back into our body, and rest of the semi-solid waste is just passed in the form of feces from the large intestine, and the opening from where this undigested food or the waste food is expelled from our body, that is called as anus. And the process of removal of this undigested waste food from our body, it is called as egestion. So children, we have seen that there are various steps involved in digestion process. The very first one is ingestion, that is intake of the food, and then the digestion process, it starts from the buccal cavity itself. Here the saliva plays its important role. Later on, the food is passed into the stomach. Here the stomach also releases some digestive juices and the hydrochloric acid. Here the digestion of the food takes place. After the stomach, the food is passed into the small intestine, where the various intestinal juices as well as the liver and the pancreas, they also release their juices into the small intestine, and all these, they help in digestion of the carbohydrate, protein and fat. Carbohydrate into the simple form, that is glucose, protein into the simple form, that is amino acid, and the fat into the fatty acid and glycerol. Here in the small intestine only, the reabsorption of these nutrients takes place, and the blood capillaries which are present in the small intestine inner wall just above the finger-like projections, which are called as villi. So the nutrients are absorbed by our body, and rest of the waste, which is semi-solid, is passed into the large intestine, where the absorption of the water and salt takes place, and rest of the waste is passed into the last part of the large intestine, that is rectum, and time to time it is expelled from the body through the last opening, which is called as anus. So this was all about the digestion process in the human being. I hope you all well understood what are the various steps involved in the digestion process of the human being. So children, as I have discussed just before you, that during dehydration, or if a person is suffering from diarrhea or vomiting and losing excess of water from his body, it needs to be given ORS solution, that is oral rehydration solution. How to prepare it at home? It is very simple method, that just take a glass of water and properly boil it for 2-3 minutes. Later on, allow it to cool down. Now in this water, just add 1 teaspoon of sugar and some pinch of salt into it. Mix all these 3 ingredients properly, and it can be given now to the patient who is suffering from diarrhea. Nowadays in the market, ready-made ORS solution sachets are also available. But if we cannot go to the market and we need it in an emergency, very easily it can be prepared in just few minutes at home also. I hope you all will remember this activity, and it can be utilized in the whenever it is required to a patient. Here I am going to explain one more activity which is given in the book, that is effect of saliva on the starch. As I told you before that saliva helps in digestion of the carbohydrate. It changes carbohydrate into sugar. So when we are taking two test tube and in one test tube having boiled rice, in another test tube the boiled rice is chewed. It means it is mixed with saliva. In both the test tube, when we put iodine solution, what we see that the test tube which is having simple boiled rice, it turns into blue-black color. Whereas the test tube in which boiled rice is chewed, it means the saliva was mixed into this boiled rice, it is not changing into the blue-black color. It means that starch which was present earlier in rice is now changed into the sugar, and the starch only with the iodine gives blue-black color. When it gets converted into the sugar, it does not give blue-black color. So we can see that the saliva helps in digestion of the carbohydrate from the starch form into the simpler component which is known as sugar. So very easily we can perform this activity whenever we will meet in our live class also. Now we are going to study another topic, that is digestion in grass-eating animals. Grass-eating animals are also known as ruminants. These animals, they have 4 chambers in their stomach. Their stomach is not like our stomach, a single bag-like structure. It has 4 parts. First part, rumen, reticulum, omasum and abomasum. When they eat their food, this food goes into the rumen. They do not chew their food properly. They just keep on eating and pass it to the next chamber, that is rumen. From the rumen, the food goes into the reticulum. Here some bacteria are present which act on it, the grass, and they help in digestion of the cellulose. This partly digested food from the reticulum goes back again into the mouth. Here in the mouth, now these animals, they chew this partly digested food properly, and this process is called as rumination. Chewing of the partly digested food, which is known as gut, is known as rumination. When food is again chewed properly, it goes back into the next chamber, that is called as omasum. From the omasum, the food is transferred to the abomasum. Here we have to just point out this thing, or we have to keep this in our mind, that after re-chewing the food, food does not go to the rumen. After re-chewing, it goes into the omasum directly, the 3rd chamber of the stomach. From the 3rd chamber, it passes to the 4th chamber, that is abomasum. And from here, the food is transferred to the small intestine, where all the nutrients are absorbed from the food. In some animals like horse and rabbit, they have another structure which is known as cecum. This cecum is present between the esophagus and the small intestine, and here the cellulose digesting bacteria are present, which helps in digestion of the cellulose, which is present in all these plant or the grass. Now we are going to study how the digestion process takes place in unicellular organism. Unicellular organism, one example is amoeba. Unicellular means single cell organism. The body of the amoeba is made up of single cell. This amoeba is present in pond water and it is microscopic. With the naked eyes, we cannot see this organism. That is why it is known as microscopic organism. This single cell organism also performs all the life processes like reproduction, digestion, excretion, respiration, etc. In amoeba, the locomotion and the capturing of the food occurs with the help of false feet or pseudopodia. These false feet or pseudopodia, they just gather around the food particles. Whenever it found any food particle, it extends its false feet around that food particle, and food particle is taken inside the body and it forms one food vacuole. In food vacuole, various digestive juices are secreted. These digestive juices help in breaking down of complex substances into simpler form. These simpler forms or these simpler substances can be utilized for the growth and other activities of the organism. Rest of the waste, it is expelled from the body. I am going to tell you an interesting story related with the digestion process. Years back in 1822, a person named as Alexis St. Martin was badly injured by a shotgun. That bullet pierced his chest wall and damaged his stomach very badly. That person was taken to the doctor, and the doctor name was Dr. Beaumont. The Dr. Beaumont was trying to heal the patient, but he was unable to completely heal that wound. It was just opening like a window through which the Dr. Beaumont can see what is happening inside the stomach. So he found a very interesting things occurring inside the stomach of that Alexis Martin. He found that the stomach is secreting various kind of juices, and this food get mixed with these juices and churned properly, and from the pieces of the food they are churned properly and they change it in just like a paste, the same function as our mixie is doing. So this churned food stays for approximately 4 to 5 hours in the stomach, and later on it is passed to the small intestine. So isn't it an interesting story to see what is happening inside the stomach, which was done by the Dr. Beaumont. Now I hope all the topics explained in this chapter are clear to you. Even if you have any doubt, any problem, you are free to ask without any hesitation. Now I am leaving you with one question. That question is, can you name the person who guides or suggests about our nutrition to stay fit and healthy? Did you get the answer? Thank you, children.